Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another GTA 5 video here on my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the new Pfister Neon, which as I'm making this video, hasn't been released yet in GTA Online. It's one of the 5 remaining unreleased cars from the Doomsday Heist update. But this vehicle, the Pfister Neon, will be released tomorrow in GTA Online on Tuesday, January 30th. And before it's released, I thought I would make this video to showcase it and go over a few things you guys need to know about this before it's released, so you guys could decide tomorrow when it's released whether to buy it or not. So let's go ahead and get straight into things. So like I said, the Pfister Neon then is one of 5 unreleased vehicles from the Doomsday Heist update. This is definitely one of the best ones out of the 5. It is a pretty awesome vehicle based upon the Porsche Panamera in real life. The Porsche Panamera is a 4-door hybrid. This one in game though is a 4-door electric car because obviously hybrids don't exist in GTA 5. But it is a really awesome car nevertheless. Of course there's been much demand for the Porsche Panamera to be added into the game for a number of years now, and at last, here it is, it's coming tomorrow. But unfortunately, it's not quite as special as we may have expected Rockstar to have made it. And I'll be going over everything in this video. But first of all, as for its price, once available tomorrow, you'll be able to purchase this from the Legendary Motorsports website for $1.5 million. Now, $1.5 million for a sports car is a lot of money, with the average costing around about 1.1 to 1.2 million for a DLC sports car. So 1.5 puts it mid to top range. But in fairness, it is a decent car, so I fully understand why Rockstar is charging $1.5 million. Especially when you compare it to the car we received last week, the Ubermax Revolta, which is also in the sports category. In comparison, this is a much better buy and is much better value for money. But when you compare it to other sports cars in the category, I'm not so sure. Like I said, it's nice that Rockstar has finally added the Porsche Panamera into GTA 5, and in fairness, the Pfister Neon is a very good looking car as well, in the terms of its appearance and style, but I know there are players out there that won't really like this all that much, so this car certainly isn't for everyone. And for $1.5 million, there are so many other cars in the game that you can get which are maybe a little more special than this one. Anyway, but let's take a look at the customization options next available for the Pfister Neon. Now, there are a few customization options unique to this car. Of course, alongside the standard upgrades, such as the armor, the brake, and the engine upgrades, you can also customize things such as the front bumper, and as you can see in the gameplay, there are a nice selection of options available in this category. You can also change the rear diffuser as well, but the only options in this category basically allow you to change the color of it rather than actually change the diffuser itself. Then in the hoods category, now this is kind of a weird one, you can fit either a double or a single stripe, which of course goes down the hood and the rest of the car. This probably should have been in the liveries category. I'm not really too sure why Rockstar put this in the hoods category, but there we go. I went for the double stripe. You've also got the option to change the mirrors on this car as well, and interestingly enough, there are 3 options to fit rear cameras as well instead of mirrors, but unfortunately there isn't a display inside the cab which actually links these cameras up. If there was, that would have been extremely awesome, but instead I went for the race mirrors. Then as for the paint job, I personally think the Pfister Neon looks great in a range of different colors. And the blue this car was originally in was really nice as well, so I changed it to a metallic racing blue, then changed the pearlescent to ultra blue so it really stood out. And as you can see, I then changed the secondary color to ice white, which changed the color of the double stripes. Moving on then to the next option, this is the skirts category this time, and again, as you can see, there is a large selection in this category. I selected the primary competition skirts. I thought those were quite nice, and it says Pfister on them as well, which is pretty awesome. Then in spoilers, you can fit one of these as well if you want to. In fairness, the car looks really good without one, but I fitted the primary color spoiler. Then in suspension, I lowered that all the way down to the sports suspension. Then as for wheels, I really like the stock wheels this car comes with, as I'm sure you guys would agree, they are pretty awesome. Unfortunately, there is no way of changing the wheel color on these because they're stock wheels. But you can change the outer color of the rim, which right now is blue, and that is changed by changing the primary color on this car. And then finally, as for window tints, I selected limo, as this car is supposed to be an executive sports car, so I thought those were really fitting. Anyway, but there we go then guys, those are all the customization options available for the Pfister Neon. There aren't a crazy number of customization options available for this, which in fairness is pretty understandable for what the car is, but there are a decent number of things you can do to this, such as changing the front and rear bumpers, fitting a spoiler, adding stripes to it as well if you want to, and changing out the skirts. Anyway, but let's move on to performance. I'm sure most of you guys want to know how this thing performs. Now as you guys can guess, with this being an executive sports car, it's not going to sit directly at the top of the category, but then again it is a decent car all round. For starters, with this being an electric car, it is pretty fast off the line. It's also all-wheel drive as well, so all four wheels are powered, unlike most cars in the sports category, which are mostly two-wheel, rear-wheel drive. So this will also give it the advantage off the line and in the corners. And this is pretty evident as I drive around, as I'm sure you guys can see in the gameplay. This thing is pretty quick getting up to speed, and it's very good through the corners as well. So I've got a feeling that during races on the track, this thing will be pretty good and towards the top of the category. Now unfortunately at the moment I cannot try this out for you guys because obviously this car hasn't been released yet in GTA Online. When it is released tomorrow, I will of course be live streaming, going through everything in detail, and of course testing this out as well in a few races. So tomorrow I can definitely give you guys a confirmation on that, but like I said, just driving around in free mode, this thing drives very, very well. But, and it's a pretty big but, because this car is electric, it doesn't have the highest of top speeds. In fact, the top speed of the Pfister Neon is just 115 miles an hour. And as you can see in the gameplay, most of the time it sits around about 113 to 114 miles an hour. And in comparison to the fastest car in game, the Power Air, its top speed is over 140 miles an hour, which is certainly a pretty big difference. But unfortunately that's just how electric cars are in GTA 5. They're fast off the line, they're very good at accelerating, but unfortunately their top speeds are pretty low. But I guess that's how Rockstar balanced these cars. If they had both the top speeds and the fastest accelerating speed, then they would just dominate all round. But how do these two cars compare in a straight line drag race at the airport? We're going to start things off first of all with the Pfister Neon. Now it's worth bearing in mind, because this car is electric, it will be much faster off the line and it will get to its top speed much faster than most other cars in game. It's also all-wheel drive as well, which means its takeoff and its launch should be pretty good as well, with very little wheel spin. Well, as you guys can see if you watch the timer in the bottom right hand corner, it took 21.25 seconds for the Pfister Neon to run the track, which for a sports car is pretty good, and straight away puts it towards the top of the category. But comparing this to the Power Air, the fastest car that we have in game in terms of its top speed. Now in fairness, this thing is pretty fast as well off the line and also gets to its top speed pretty quickly as well. It is a two-wheel drive car though, rear-wheel drive, so at the start you probably saw there was a bit of wheel spin, which will of course affect its time slightly, but it was slightly faster, but only just at 21.07 seconds, which means there was less than a 20 millisecond difference between these two cars. There may be a huge difference between their top speeds, but 18 milliseconds to do this drag race is almost negligible. Now I thought it was also worth including the Cyclone's drag race time, seeing that this car was the fastest accelerating car in game when it was first released a few months ago. Well, it did beat both of these, not by a huge amount, literally again just a few milliseconds, but it reached the other side of the runway in 20.28 seconds. So there wasn't a huge difference then between this and the Power Air, but puts it almost a whole second faster than the Neon. Which means the Cyclone is still the fastest electric car in GTA 5 that we have in the terms of its accelerating speed. Both cars have the same top speed at around about 114 to 115 miles an hour. But I guess because it's faster from 0 to 60, the Cyclone still is the best electric car that we have in GTA 5. But then again, it is worth noting the Cyclone is more expensive, costing just under $1.9 million, and it's in the supercar category, not the sports category like the Neon. But I guess that means it will never come up against each other in races, as they're in two completely separate categories. But as for the Power Air, of course that is in the sports category, so these two will come up against each other, but because this thing is faster off the line and is all-wheel drive, I'm betting this thing is better around the track than the Power Air. But I guess we'll have to wait and see tomorrow when this car is officially released. So there we go then guys, with that being said, that's pretty much it then for this video. Those are all the things you guys need to know about the Pfister Neon for tomorrow when it's released. Of course the question now being, is this car worth buying? In my opinion, yes, the Pfister Neon is a very good car. It looks great, it's been demanded by the community now for a number of years, it's pretty fast both off the line and in race situations because its performance and handling is good. Like I said, I'm betting this will be one of the fastest cars in the terms of races in GTA Online once released, but that's to be confirmed tomorrow when it's officially released, and it's just an all-round good car. So there we go, the Pfister Neon is definitely a car I would recommend buying if you guys have over $1.5 million in-game to spend on it. Anyway, but there we go then guys, with that being said, that is pretty much it then for this video. I of course want your thoughts and feelings on the Pfister Neon. Do you guys like it? Will you guys be buying it once it's released? Go ahead and leave a comment on this video right now. I want to get your thoughts and feelings on it. Of course, tomorrow once this car is released, I will be live streaming, going over everything in detail, showcasing all its customizations, and of course comparing it in races against all the other sports cars that we have in game, so definitely tune into that. But if you guys could drop a like on this video, would of course be greatly appreciated, and it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I recommend that you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.